Hey everybody, welcome back to the Girl Scouts Caitlin Dunbar Nature Center. I'm Box Turtle, and today we're going to talk about everybody's favorite animal. You ready for it? Snakes. Yes, everybody's favorite animals, and I can hear you already. Some of you are going, yay, snakes, woo, this is awesome. But some more of you are going, I ain't watching this video, it's about snakes. Please stay tuned, because while I understand the reluctance of some people to appreciate these animals, I'm going to give you many reasons that we all of us need to appreciate these animals, even if you don't want to cuddle with them. Okay? Why are so many humans afraid of snakes, or have a reluctance to accept snakes? And it's mostly because you've probably never heard a good thing about a snake, honestly. Snakes are vilified in almost every media known to man. Books, stories, movies, everything always paints snakes in a very bad way. One of my favorite sets of movies and books, Harry Potter. While it's beautiful to owls, just plays into that fear of snakes. Slytherin is the bad house. Salazar Slytherin was evil. The basilisk looked like a snake. And it all plays on our subconscious. The snake is almost never the hero in the movie or the book. So just those things feed into our reluctance to accept them. One of the biggest questions that I get asked all the time is he going to bite? Is he going to bite? Well, the truth is, snakes have mouths. Like all other animals, snakes can bite. But we really need to understand the snake's behavior to know whether it's going to bite or not. And it's very simple with a snake. Snakes are not aggressive by nature. They really aren't. If you are, since we're all practicing social distancing in this time, if you practice social distancing with a snake, you will never be in conflict with a snake, ever. A snake 3 feet away, or 6 feet away, is no danger to you whatsoever. It will never attack you. To him, you are a much larger animal. You were Godzilla or something, a dinosaur. He wants no part of you. He's going to sit there and be very still and pretend you didn't see him. And if we keep getting closer and closer, then we're pushing the conflict. But it's always because we get too close. Sometimes that's by accident, sometimes that isn't. But it only happens when we get too close. Now, what are some of the benefits of snakes? One of the reasons that everybody should benefit snakes is because they eat a lot of pests that are out to get us in one way or another. The biggest is rodents. Rodents are a huge problem everywhere. Rodents love people. People live in such a way, humans live in such a way that rodents get out of control very easily. And because of this, rodents are allowed to spread the diseases that they carry to human populations. And that is a real danger. And I know a lot of people don't put 2 and 2 together as to well, what diseases do rats carry that I'm going to get. Well, we're experiencing diseases that animals can carry that can somehow get to us. But in all reality, we've already been infected with a lot of diseases that are carried by rodents. Lyme's disease. Lyme's disease is a disease that is carried by rodents. Yes, the tick does give it to us, and we need to be concerned about ticks as well. But the tick is an intermediary. He drinks the blood of the mouse, gets the disease, and then later gets on us and can pass the disease on. Without that, the carrier, the rodent, this tick never gets the disease. So we need to control the carriers of the disease, and that's the rodents. And one of the best rodent controls in the world are snakes. Snakes are specially adapted, have many adaptations that we're going to go over, that show how good they are at catching mice and other rodents and things like that. I always tell people that they only catch the smart ones, and we'll get into that when I talk about some of their adaptations, why snakes actually catch the smart ones. A lot of the other predators only catch the dumb mice and rodents. So we're gonna take a break here, and we're gonna get out some of our friends, and then we're gonna explain some of their adaptations for you. All right. So here we have one of our educational ambassadors. This is Nazgul. Say hi to everybody, Nazgul. Okay. And Nazgul is a black rat snake. Now we'll get into the different details of the different snakes that we have here at the Nature Center a little later, but right now we're just going to use Nazgul to show a lot of the different adaptations that a snake has. And we're going to start from the head and we're going to work our way down. Because the head, just the head of a snake has so many adaptations that it's pretty incredible. First of all, I just want you to see the overall shape and all of the head, of the head, okay? But there's so many adaptations in just this head that makes snakes so special. Snakes, as you can see, don't have any limbs. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is it makes them better snakes. At one time, snakes did have limbs. They had arms and legs just like any other animals. They were a type of lizard. And eventually they adapted to not having limbs at all. In fact, in some of our really big snakes, like the pythons, you can actually see what they call vestigial or leftover legs in their back. If you x-ray them, they'll have a hip bone in the back, and they'll actually have spurs. The males will actually have still little bony protrusions out their sides down around here. And that is the remnants of their rear legs. This snake is much more advanced ecologically than those snakes are. And you won't see them in the black rat snake, but on the pythons you can see them. So how did this make them better? Well, it made them able to go places where limbs kept them from going. This snake can go pretty much anywhere its prey goes. If it goes in a tight crevice or a hole, the snake can follow. It doesn't have to worry about getting its shoulders through or its hips. If it wants to climb up a tree, it uses its entire body to climb up a tree. Black rat snakes are very good climbers. And without limbs, can climb straight up a tree and get the animals that it needs to, that it's following to eat. Okay, but when all that happens, once that you get to the animal, not having limbs makes things very difficult. Think about eating and what you would do if you didn't have hands to hold your food while you're biting it, chewing it, and swallowing it. Well, snakes had to adapt, and that's what makes their skulls very, very unique. The snake has many adaptations. One of them is the teeth. I want to describe their teeth first, because all snakes have teeth. Some are a little more adapted than others, but for the most part, snakes have one type of tooth in their head. And it's small, tiny, recurved teeth, just like that, curved like that. And they have lots of them going all around the top and bottom jaw. That is so that when they grab whatever they're going to eat, the teeth being recurved sink in and help them to hold on to it. Okay? Remember, they can't grab it with their hands and help them to hold. So they'll grab it with their mouth, and those recurved teeth will help them to hold on. This snake is a constrictor. So what it will do then is after it grabs the animal, it will wrap up tightly around the animal, again, to hold on tighter. But as that animal breathes in, the snake squeezes a little tighter. Now it can't exhale as much. It breathes in again, it squeezes a little tighter. Eventually, the animal will suffocate and die, and then the snake will loosen up and eat it. But then that presents another problem. If I have one kind of tooth, and that tooth is small and recurved to help me hold, how am I going to swallow something that's bigger than my head? And snakes actually do swallow things larger than their skull. This snake can eat something the size of a squirrel. And while we here at the Nature Center don't feed it that, and even in the wild, it probably wouldn't attack a squirrel very often. If a squirrel is the only thing it's going to find, it's going to try and do it. And look at the size of the head and think of a squirrel. That's a big job. That's the equivalent of us trying to swallow a watermelon whole. And we can't do it. We have special teeth, and those teeth, the front teeth, allow us to cut into a larger object and pull a chunk off. And then our back teeth, being flat and molars and bumpy, grind things up, and our tongue pushes it back, and then we are able to swallow it. Snakes have none of that. They have the same teeth that we have. The same teeth, no matter where it is in your mouth. So they have to come up with other adaptations to be able to not only hold the animals as those teeth are, but they need to be able to feed it into their mouth. And this is where a very special part of the snake comes in. How does all this work? Well, I'm going to put my snake back in the bag, and I'm going to show you a little bit of how the snake's skull works. Here, I have my assistant, Kenny. Kenny was a camper at Camp Ilchester about 25 years ago who wandered off. No, I'm just teasing. It's just plastic. It's just a plastic skull. It's a model of a human skull. And the way our skull works, as you all know, is that we take a bite, chew, swallow. Take a bite, chew, swallow. Well, snakes can't work that way. Snakes just, they're already holding the mouse in their mouth. What do? Well, at first, they just got it by the nose or something, so they can fit that part. But they're going to swallow this entire thing, the whole body. So what the snake has the ability to do is to unhook its back jaw and stretch its cheeks like this. Actually separate the bottom jaw from the top and then move over like this. Not only did that, they actually take those hooked teeth. Snakes don't have the chin right here isn't hard like ours. It's like a piece of elastic, it stretches. And so they can move the front and the left and the right jaw independently. So they'll take one jaw out and they'll hook the teeth and pull one side in, and then they'll take this other side and pull this side in, and as they're doing that, they're pulling the animal into their mouth. And being able to swallow it. Imagine if we could do this, we would be able to swallow a watermelon, wouldn't we? So, while a snake has that animal, it starts off here, and then as it gets bigger and bigger, everything just stretches. The bottom jaw and the cheeks and everything, and the esophagus all the way down. I liken it to putting on your socks. When you start off, your sock is smaller than your foot, and you need to put this small sock on your foot. So what do? You start at your toes, and you put the sock on your toes, and as it goes up your foot, it stretches a little more and stretches a little more and stretches a little more. And then when it gets to the ankle, it stretches on, it gets to your calf, it stretches up a little more. That's exactly how a snake swallows. The biggest difference is a snake isn't a hollow tube like a sock. The snake has all the insides that humans do. They're elongated, they're stretched out. They do only have one lung, but it's long and stretched out to fit in their body. But all these things are stretching and displacing so that they can swallow this huge prey. The prey then makes its way down into its stomach, which is about 1/3 of the way down of a snake's body. And there, everything is dissolved because they swallow it head to tail. So everything is dissolved. So pretty much the fur, the maybe really coarse fur might not dissolve completely, but it's pretty good. Bones, teeth, hair, muscle, organs, everything is digested by the snake. And very, very powerful, strong digestive system. So at the end of this video, we're actually going to attach another video that I made of our snake eating a rat. The rat has already been pre-killed. It's not going to kill the rat. We feed all our snakes and our birds with prey, pre-killed rodents that we have in a freezer. But we're going to attach that video so that you can actually see this in action. You actually see the jaws moving and everything like that, like I just described. So we'll put a warning so you know when that is, and you can stop watching if you're squeamish or whatever. But we'll attach that video to the end of this one. So, but before all that can happen, a lot of other things got to happen. They have to actually find the animal and catch it. And one of the best adaptations that a snake has, I keep saying that, the best, because all their adaptations are fantastic, but is their tongue, their sense of smell and taste, combined on their tongue. It makes snakes an exceptional hunter. Let's get Nazgul out again, and I want to show you that tongue. And we can, so I can describe this to you. Alright, let's see if we can get a shot of the tongue. Alright, stick your tongue out. Nazgul, come on. There you go, good boy. See, it won't come in. Well-trained snake, right? Now, what a snake is effectively doing is tasting and smelling the air. But that's not really an adequate description because they're receiving so much more information than I can even relate to you through that adaptation. But why don't they use their eyes? Snakes have, very good eyesight. It's at least as good as humans. But the problem with a snake's eyesight isn't the eyesight itself, it's where the snake lives. Snakes generally live very low. They're on the ground, crawling around. They're very low to the ground. So in general, they can't see very far, not because of their eyes, but because there's something always in the way. A rock, a tree, even high grass is blocking their vision. So if they can't tell what's what beyond the range of their vision, they have problems. So the snake adapted in such a way that it could use its tongue to tell more about its environment at further distances. And it can tell whether prey is around, it can tell whether predators are around, and I think all through its tongue and not even being able to see it, well before it sees it. They also are very sensitive to vibrations and can sense things that way. But their tongue, we're going to talk about the tongue. And the tongue is one of the snake's most effective adaptations. It makes it such an effective hunter. We could drop a mouse on the floor here. 2 days from now, we could come out and drop the snake in the same place. That snake will start sticking out his tongue, and he would literally follow wherever that mouse went over that 2-day period. He will follow it going around. If the snake goes, in a hole, the mouse goes in a hole, he's going to know the mouse went in the hole because he's going to follow the scent that the mouse left. If the mouse goes outside, goes up a tree, he's going to know that. He's going to be able to follow that with his tongue. And he is going to go in to wherever that mouse is hiding and eat not only that mouse, but the entire family. Any other mouse that's there too, he's also going to eat them. This is the reason I say snakes only catch the smart ones, or catch the smart ones. It's because a mouse can't help but leave its house sometimes. And it does its best not to be seen or heard by other predators. But a snake doesn't have to see or hear it. An owl, a fox, they have to see or hear the mouse, and then they go chase it, hunt it down, and kill it. That mouse was stupid. It made a mistake and it got caught. The snake catches the ones that don't make mistakes. And that's important because the smart ones are the ones that breed the smarts into the next generation. So we need the snakes to keep the mice not so advanced. But they literally can follow a scent that long and just find the animal and eat it. So now there's one other adaptation that I'm going to cover in snakes, and that's venom. Okay, venom. Everybody's fear, and one of the reasons probably snakes have such a bad reputation. Venom in snakes is fairly rare. It is not something. Some places in the world are different than others, and depends where you live and things like that. But from my point, we're talking about Maryland, and snake venom is extremely rare in Maryland. Most of our snakes are non-venomous. We have 27 species of snake listed as residents of Maryland, and 25 of them are completely and totally harmless. Only 2 have venom, and we'll talk about those 2 a little later. But venom, notice I'm saying venom and not poison. Venom and poison are very different. Poison is if you eat it, okay? Or you bite it. That's what we say. You bite it, it's poison, okay? Poison, it can be very random. It could be a plant, it could be a chemical, it could be a metal, lead poisoning, mercury poisoning. It can be, it's very, very random. It can also be very, for instance, chocolate. Chocolate's one of the ones I like to use. We don't feed chocolate to our dogs because it will poison them, okay? But we all love it, right? So poison is very random, but it has to get in your body either by eating it, breathing it in, absorbing it through your skin, or something along those lines. It has to get into your venom. Venom is very unique. Venom, to have venom, you have to be a living animal. And then you have to be able to inject that venom into another living animal. So venom is very specialized. So when we talk about snakes, we don't talk about poisonous snakes. Where you can eat snakes. They're not going to poison you. However, there are certain species of snakes who are venomous. And these snakes all have specialized teeth, different than the teeth that we described, larger, usually larger, not all the time, but usually larger and hollow, and they're able to inject venom into an animal. And that's exactly what it's for. Make no mistake, that venom in a snake is was not developed over millennia to harm humans. It was to allow the snake to catch its prey and eat it. In fact, a lot of venom, especially the snakes in the United States, is a pre-digestive enzyme that starts digesting the animal, which is how it kills it, to help the snake digest it. Those snakes are actually very important to the ecosystem because they actually have to eat more rodents because it takes a lot of metabolism, a lot of energy for those snakes to produce that venom. They don't want to give it up by biting a stupid human that got too close. They want to use it to catch their prey and eat. So again, we'll talk about the two snakes here that are venomous. But venom is a very, very specific thing. Venom is not just snakes. It's almost, I think every spider, all bees and wasps have venom. It could be a mammal. There's a shrew, even in Maryland, there's a shrew that is a mammal. Platypi. The male platypus has in his back legs has two spines that will inject venom. It can be a fish. It can be a shellfish. So venom is found in many different animals across the way, and not just snakes. Snakes just gives snakes this bad reputation. But again, like I said, it's a very important adaptation for them to survive. Will they use it in defense? Yes. Do they need to use it in defense? That's kind of up to us. Accidents happen, but not all of them. So, all right. So I think we've covered most of the adaptations that I can think of. I do want to cover a little bit about their physiology, because I get asked these questions, so I'm going to try and make sure that I cover them in this video. But a snake is not a worm. Okay, it has bones. All that we talked about, all these teeth and the jaws and everything, the bones in the skull are very intricate. The snake has a very long backbone, all the way down, and many sets of ribs, all the way down here, and then to about here, and we get to the tail. All right. Now that we've gotten through all the adaptations and the cool things about snakes, I want to go over some of our resident snakes. We have we have a few snakes here at Nature Center. They're all native, sort of, and I'll explain that. But we'll start with the one that we've been showing it most of the time is Nazgul. Nazgul is, as I said before, a black rat snake. A black rat snake. We have two black snakes in Maryland. We have the black racer and we have the black rat snake. Both are large black snakes. Only way to really tell the difference if you don't know what you're seeing is that a black racer looks more black. That's the best way I can describe it. If you look at a black rat snake, you can see that there's some white showing in the scales and things like that. He also has a very white throat, all the way down maybe a little bit of his body. A black racer will not have the light between the scales, and will also maybe have a white chin. Maybe just a white chin is all. And maybe not even that. Their nose is a little pointier and all like that, but you don't need to get that close to tell. The black rat snake is the largest snake in Maryland. Nazgul here is over 6 feet long. And that's about as big as you're going to see them. I get people talking about 8-foot black rat snakes, 9-foot black rat snakes. The largest ever in the world ever was a little over 8 feet long, and we're never going to see that again. So this is a very large black rat snake. And the thing about a black rat snake is it's a very common snake. This is one that after seeing this video, you may go out on a sunny day and see it in your backyard. And if you do, count yourself lucky. Remember, he's just following the mice. The mice and the rats that is what he wants to eat. He has no interest in your yard whatsoever other than what food he can get there. So, and again, he's following it with that tongue as we talked about. They are very good climbers. They will also raid bird nests. They're very good climbers, so they can get up to where the birds make their nests, and they will eat birds, baby birds and all. They'll even eat bird eggs. If you have a chicken coop, they will sometimes even come in and eat chicken eggs. A lot of people don't like them because they eat the baby birds, but let me just tell you, pretty much everything eats baby birds. Even things that would never eat meat eat baby birds at that time of year, because baby birds are just nature's way of providing nutrition. They can't all survive. So deer, squirrels, all will eat baby birds and bird eggs. So if they're available. But the snakes, black rat snakes, are definitely very, very good at it. Like I said, very good climbers, and the largest snake in Maryland. Okay. Now, when a black rat snake is a baby, it isn't quite black. And I'm going to show you. We just happen to have a young black rat snake here. This is certainly not a newborn, a newly hatched black rat snake, but and while he appears, he's turning very black. I'm going to see if we can get a close-up so that you can see that he has these dark saddles on his body. When he was young, even younger, everything between those dark saddles was a very light gray. So you can see, so this snake will appear with a very light gray body with dark saddles. This particular snake is getting to the size where he's going to turn black. This time next year he'll be totally black again. But I wanted to show you that when you first see them, they aren't black, and they're mistaken a lot of times for other snakes that people may not want around their house so much. So I just wanted to give you all a heads up that if you see a snake with a pattern like that, that having a pattern doesn't mean it's a dangerous snake. And we'll try and talk a little bit about that as well. I promised you all that I'd talk about the two venomous snakes. Remember, we have 27 types of snake in Maryland, and we have 2 are venomous and the rest are not. So all the rest are harmless. The 2 venomous ones are the copperhead, which is found all over the state, and the other one is the timber rattlesnake. The timber rattlesnake lives up in the mountains, so unless you're up in the area in the mountains, here in Maryland, you're not going to see them. And even if you are up there in the mountains, a lot of times you're not going to see them. They're actually a threatened species in Maryland. They're not real numerous because of their conflict with people. But let me just mention that when we talk about snakes being non-aggressive, is a snake that rattles its tail going to be aggressive? If it wanted to come up and sneak up and get you, a snake certainly could. Why would it rattle its tail and say, hey, I'm here? It's saying, hey, I'm here because I'm scared of you, hopefully you're scared of me, and we cannot be in conflict. That's what the rattlesnake does. So there's a reason for that rattle. And actually, rattlesnakes are the most advanced snakes on the planet. Another snake that we have here at the Nature Center, and I forget how the Department of Natural Resources words this, but nativity undetermined, I think is what it says. But this is a larger snake than the black rat snake. However, I personally and many herpetologists do not consider it a native snake. We don't believe that the snake ever lived in Maryland, and it certainly doesn't anymore. This is the northern pine snake. His name is Snaggy. He was a donation a while back from a dear friend's son, and let him calm down a little bit, but he's a gorgeous, gorgeous color. Gorgeous, gorgeous color. The northern pine snake is native to New Jersey, and it is native further south in Virginia and the Carolinas. They skip Maryland and Delaware in those areas, and that's probably due to what I'm told is glacial patterns and all. But at one time, the Department of Maryland did decide that this snake may be native, and so it's listed as one of the 27 species, but like I said, they say the nativity is undetermined. This snake is a ground snake. It is a burrower. It actually has another adaptation on its nose. It has a special scale on its nose, the end of its nose, to burrow in sandy soil. They like sandy soil where they're going to make their burrows. They're going to burrow into the ground, and they're also going to enter the burrows of other animals like rodents that may make their burrows in grounds. And that's where there's going to be chipmunks, mice, different things like that are what this snake is going to eat. It is I know the population that is in New Jersey is considered a very protected population. They live in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey, and they're very isolated and a little different from the rest, I believe. And so if you ever see one, you're definitely lucky in the wild. But this is a beautiful, beautiful snake that we have here at the Nature Center. And then, last but not least, we're going to show you a lot of people's favorite snake when they come to the Nature Center, and not the one we think. This is Ghost. Ghost is also a black rat snake. Yeah, but he's not black. I know this. But he actually has a genetic disorder called leucism. And leucism is a genetic disorder where all the pigment is missing. All the pigments are missing. And it can affect the entire body as it did in Ghost. Or sometimes, maybe that pattern would be left that I showed you on the juvenile. The pattern might be there where they could see the pattern, but all the rest is white. You could just have a couple white blotches on a dark body, which we would call piebald. It's all a form of leucism, and he has obviously no pigment whatsoever anywhere except for his eyes. His eyes are actually blue, a light blue. Even his tongue, the tongue is not actually colored, that you're just seeing the color of the blood in the vessels of his tongue. Is he cool or what? Alright. The only thing I want to cover now, that's our snakes that we have right here, right now, currently at the Nature Center. The only other thing I want to cover is something that I forgot in adaptations, and I wanted to show you this. Is that one of the cool things about snakes is snakes every once in a while, as they grow or as they get older, they shed their skin. This is the skin of one of our black rat snake nazgul. And the reason I want to show you this is because it's pretty amazing. This is an inside-out impression of the snake. This was against the body, and the inside part was the part on the outside of the snake, the part that we would touch if we were holding the snake. So he completely turns the skin inside out and sheds it. The skin covers the entire body, and I wanted to show you how detailed it is on the head. In fact, skin even covers the eyes, and I'm hoping you can see this, but there's a scale right there that covers each individual eyes. Snakes do not have eyelids. They can't open and close their eyes. So they have to have a way to protect that eye. And the adaptation that they have is that a scale of skin actually forms over the eye. It's actually a transparent scale over the top of the eye to protect it from damage. So that is our snake skin. Well, that's all I got. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email boxturtle@gscm.org, And if you missed our first video from last week, hopefully they'll be able to put it in the description. It was all about owls, our owls here at the Nature Center. And next week, if you're tuning into this one and you want to tune in again next week, we're going to talk about turtles, and we got some pretty cool turtles to talk about. All right, guys, be safe. Talk to you later.